Stop for a moment and imagine this. It is a normal school day. Students are laughing in the hallway, teachers are preparing lessons, parents are at work thinking everything is fine. Then suddenly, an emergency alert sounds across an entire province. Phones vibrate, radios interrupt programs, and within minutes, a peaceful mountain town is facing one of the darkest days in its history. If you are learning English, this story will help you improve your listening and vocabulary while understanding a real and serious event. Welcome to English Highlights. On this channel, we learn English through powerful, real-world stories that help you think, feel, and grow. If that sounds helpful to you, make sure you subscribe so you do not miss our next lesson. Today, we are going to talk about a tragic shooting that changed a small Canadian town forever. We will look at what happened, who was affected, how the country responded, and why this event has started difficult conversations across Canada. This is not just about one day, it's about community, mental health, safety, and the future. Let us begin with the town itself, because to understand the pain, you first need to understand the place. The town is called Tumbler Ridge. It is located in the eastern foothills of the Rocky Mountains in British Columbia. Far from major cities, surrounded by forests and mountains, it is home to about 2,400 people. That is smaller than many high schools in big cities. Tumbler Ridge was created in the 1980s as a mining town. Coal mines opened nearby, and families moved there for work. It was one of those planned communities built quickly to support industry. When the coal industry slowed down years later, many towns like this disappeared, but Tumbler Ridge survived. Families stayed, neighbors supported one another. Over time, the town became more than just a workplace. It became home. In a small town like this, people know each other. Teachers know parents, shop owners know children by name. If something happens to one family, everyone feels it. The secondary school, which serves students from grade 7 to grade 12, is not just a school building, it is the center of community life. Sports events, concerts, graduations, everything happens there. Now imagine something unthinkable happening in a place like that. On February 10, 2026, what began as a normal afternoon turned into chaos. The violence did not start at the school. It started inside a private home in town. 2 people were shot and killed there. Later, it became known that they were family members of the attacker. After that, the violence moved to the local secondary school. Around early afternoon, police received reports of a shooter inside the building. Within minutes, the principal initiated a lockdown. A lockdown means that teachers close and lock classroom doors, turn off lights, and keep students hidden and silent. In many schools, students practice these drills, but no one ever expects them to be real. Students pushed desks against doors, some hid in storage rooms, others crouched quietly behind shelves. Messages spread quickly through text messages. Fear moved faster than facts. People inside did not know how many attackers there were. They did not know where the shooter was. They only knew they had to stay quiet. Police officers arrived and entered the building to search room by room. The situation developed quickly. By the time it ended, several lives had been lost inside the school. The attacker also died from a self-inflicted injury. In total, 8 innocent people lost their lives that day, including victims at the home and inside the school. 27 others were injured, some seriously. For a town of 2,400 people, that number is devastating. It means almost every family knew someone directly affected. Take a moment to think about that. In a large city, news like this is shocking. In a small town, it is deeply personal. Let us pause and recap. A remote mountain town, a family home, a school, 8 lives lost, dozens injured, and an entire community left searching for answers. Now, people wanted to know who was responsible and why. Authorities identified the attacker as an 18-year-old who had previously lived in the community. Reports later revealed that police had visited the family home multiple times in past years due to concerns about mental health and self-harm. This detail raised painful questions. If there were warning signs, why did this still happen? It is important to speak carefully here. mental health struggles alone do not cause violence. The vast majority of people who face mental health challenges are not violent. However, when someone is clearly in crisis and there are repeated concerns, communities naturally ask whether more support or intervention might have helped. No note or clear explanation was left behind. That absence made the tragedy even harder to understand. Without clear reasons, people are left with speculation, and speculation often leads to anger and frustration. I want to share a short example to help you understand how this feels in a small community. Imagine you live in a town where you have one grocery store, one gas station, one high school. You see the same people every week. Now imagine seeing familiar faces on the news as victims. Imagine walking past the school building knowing what happened inside. That's the kind of grief this town now carries. As the news spread, the reaction quickly moved beyond Tumbler Ridge. Leaders across Canada expressed sorrow and support. The Prime Minister at the time, Mark Carney, shared condolences publicly and thanked emergency responders. Flags on government buildings were lowered to half-mast as a sign of respect. Provincial leaders in British Columbia also promised assistance, especially in mental health services for students and families. But sympathy is only the first step. After tragedies like this, the conversation usually shifts toward prevention. And in Canada, that conversation often returns to gun laws. Canada has a different relationship with firearms compared to some other countries. In many rural areas, including places like Tumbler Ridge, guns are commonly used for hunting and sport. At the same time, Canada has introduced stricter gun control measures over the years, especially after previous mass shootings. For example, after the 2020 mass shooting in Nova Scotia, the government, led by Justin Trudeau, banned many types of assault-style firearms. Later, legislation known as Bill C-21 introduced additional restrictions, including a freeze on handgun transfers. These changes aimed to reduce access to certain weapons. Yet, despite these laws, violence still occurs. That raises complex questions. Were the weapons used legally obtained? Were they stolen? Were they homemade firearms, sometimes called ghost guns, which do not have serial numbers and are difficult to trace? At the time of reporting, some of these details were still under investigation. This is where the debate becomes emotional. Some people argue that stricter gun laws are necessary. Others believe enforcement and illegal trafficking are the main problems. Still others focus on mental health services, especially in remote areas where support may be limited. And this is not the first time Canada has faced such tragedy. In 1989, 14 women were killed at École Polytechnique in Montreal. In 2020, 22 people were killed in Nova Scotia. Each event left scars on the nation and led to policy discussions. But here is something else to consider. Beyond large-scale attacks, Canada has seen rising gun violence in some cities in recent years. Police data from major urban centers has shown increases in shootings during certain periods. Although overall homicide rates fluctuate year by year, experts often caution that 1 year of improvement does not mean the issue is solved. There is also concern about inequality. Research has shown that certain communities, including Black and Indigenous populations, are disproportionately affected by gun violence. That suggests deeper social issues, such as poverty, marginalization, and limited access to opportunity. So when we ask, what went wrong in Tumbler Ridge, the answer may not be simple. It may involve mental health systems, firearm access, rural isolation, social support, and many other factors. Let me share another realistic scenario. Imagine a teenager in a remote town struggling with depression. The nearest specialized mental health clinic is hours away. Appointments take months. Family members are worried but do not know what to do. Police may respond during crises, but police are not long-term therapists. Without consistent professional care, problems can grow quietly. That does not excuse violence. Nothing excuses violence, but it highlights how complicated prevention can be.
For the people of Tumbler Ridge, the focus now is healing. Counselors have been brought into the community. Students have attended memorials. Teachers have tried to create safe spaces for conversation. But trauma does not disappear quickly. Survivors of school shootings often experience anxiety, nightmares, and difficulty concentrating for years. The town faces practical challenges, too. How do you reopen a school building after such an event? Do you renovate it? Do you hold classes elsewhere? How do you help younger children feel safe again? And beyond the town, the country continues to wrestle with difficult questions. How do we balance individual rights with public safety? How do we strengthen mental health care in remote regions? How do we reduce illegal gun trafficking? There are no easy answers. Let us recap again. A small mountain town built on mining, a close-knit community, a tragic day that began at a home and moved to a school, 8 lives lost, dozens injured, a nation grieving, and ongoing debates about guns, mental health, and prevention. What happens next will likely involve policy reviews, community healing programs, and continued national discussion. Real change, if it comes, usually takes time. It requires cooperation between federal and provincial governments, law enforcement, educators, health professionals, and communities themselves. For viewers learning English, stories like this teach more than vocabulary. They teach empathy. They teach how to discuss serious topics respectfully. Words like lockdown, legislation, investigation, trauma, and intervention become easier to understand when you see them in real context. As we come to the end of this story, I want you to reflect. What do you think is most important for preventing tragedies like this? Is it stronger laws, better mental health services, community programs for youth? A combination of all three. There may not be one single solution. The people of Tumbler Ridge will carry this day in their memories for the rest of their lives. The students who hid in classrooms will grow up remembering the sound of that alert. Families who lost loved ones will measure time as before and after February 10th. Events like this remind us that safety is something communities must actively build and protect. They also remind us that behind every headline are real human beings. If this lesson helped you improve your English and understand a complex topic more clearly, please support the channel. Subscribe to English Highlights so you can continue learning through meaningful stories. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts and let me know what topic you would like us to explore next. Your engagement helps this community grow and allows us to create even better lessons for you. Thank you for learning with me today. Stay curious, stay compassionate, and I will see you in the next video.